We start off today talking about the fact that Republican Congressman and serial liar George Santos has been arrested on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. I want to get to some clips from a press conference of sorts that he held after being arraigned that did not go super well for him at all. But before we get to that, let me summarize so we can kind of get a sense of what he's being charged for, what we know about these charges. Among the allegations, prosecutors say, this is from the Associated Press, Santos induced supporters to donate to a company under the false pretense that the money would be used to support his campaign. Instead, they say he used the money for personal expenses, including designer clothes and his credit card and car payments. Santos also transferred about $74,000 from a company that was supposed to be exclusively receiving campaign donations to his own bank accounts and to some of his associates. Santos also is accused of lying about his finances on congressional disclosure forms and applying for and receiving unemployment benefits while he was employed as regional director of an investment firm that the government shut down in 2021 over allegations that it was a Ponzi scheme. In a financial disclosure form, Santos reported making $750,000 a year from a family company, the DeVolder organization. Of course, his full name is George Santos Anthony DeVolder or something like that. George Anthony DeVolder Santos, I think. But the charges until Wednesday allege that Santos never received the sum, nor the $1 million and $5 million in dividends he listed as coming from the firm. Likely much more, but that kind of gives you a taste of what's going on here. Now here is this press conference that he held right after being arraigned, and we'll start with this clip of him, you'll never guess, saying, it's all a witch hunt.
Look, this is the beginning of the ability for me to address and defend myself. We have an indictment. We have the information that the government wants to come after me on, and I'm going to comply. I've been complying throughout this entire process. I have no desire not to comply at this point. They've been gracious in there. Now I'm going to have to go and fight to defend myself. The reality is it's a witch hunt, because it makes no sense that in 4 months, 5 months, I'm indicted. You have Joe Biden's entire family receiving deposits from nine family members receiving money from foreign destinations into their bank accounts. It's been years of exposing. A lot of you here have reported on them, and yet no investigation is launched into them. I'm going to fight. I'm getting back to that. I'm going to fight my battle. I'm going to deliver. I'm going to fight the witch hunt. I'm going to take care of clearing my name, and I look forward to doing that.
Something about that was just so cringy and lazily delivered. What's that thing that Trump always says when he's about to be held accountable for something? Oh yeah, it's a witch hunt or something. Let's see, Hunter Biden. It's Biden's fault, actually. We should be talking about Biden. Now, of course, he's referencing the accusations by Republicans against Biden that they still haven't provided evidence for. So what he's saying then is the reason why you shouldn't be prosecuted in George Santos's case is because James Comer said that Biden did something. As I like to say, if you're going to try to deceive us, be better at it. Next moment from this press conference.
Planning on running for re-election?
Yes, I am.
And why should anybody believe you now?
Well, like I said, I will prove myself innocent, and then we'll move from there. And re-election is a very far time away from it.
You know what? Why shouldn't he run for re-election? Trump is running for president of the United States, and he's been charged with more felonies than George Santos has. And he's likely about to be charged with crimes related to his attempts to overthrow American democracy and install himself president for 4 more years, despite the fact that he lost the election and was just found liable in civil court for sexually abusing a woman. And he is the likely choice of the Republican Party. So what's a little wire fraud and theft of public funds by George Santos to Republican voters? Now, in reality, the good news is Santos's district is historically a blue district, so I'm pretty confident he'll be soundly defeated in 2024. No thanks, likely, to Republicans. And then final moment we will look at here.
You looked, I'm going to stand.
Go ahead.
You look pretty stressed. When I saw you sit down and the judge first started speaking, what was going through your mind? What are you feeling after being in court today?
Well, when it's your first time in experiencing something of this nature, I think everybody would show some kind of stress, right? I quite frankly don't believe I was stressed. I did the best I could to just keep my composure. I was fine. But again, this has been an experience, for a book or something like that. So anyway,
it will be an experience for a book or something like that, he says. Already planning how he can monetize the whole experience. By the way, if you're someone who would purchase with your hard-earned cash a book not just about George Santos, but written by George Santos, I don't want to meet you. That's bonkers. I will say this, going back to the him running for re-election thing. Imagine how much of a narcissist and just all around garbage person you would have to be to get caught scamming your constituents in multiple ways, lying to them to get elected, spending their donations illegally, etc., etc. And then you turn around and say, I want to stay in this position of power. You get caught lying about your mom being in the Twin Towers on 9/11, being Jewish, where you went to school, where you worked, your friends dying at the Pulse nightclub shooting, having a charity, and on it goes. And now everyone knows you were lying and you don't have any shame. We learned that you reportedly lied to a disabled veteran and raised money for his dying dog, then kept the money and didn't give it to the dog, ran away with it, and then the dog died, and still you don't have any shame. Now you have, you've been charged with multiple crimes for your alleged criminal activity during your attempt to get into Congress, and you still don't have any shame. After all of that, you say, haven't I been such a great representative? You should reelect me. If you cared one bit about your constituents, George Santos, resign immediately. They deserve someone who has at least a little bit of integrity and honesty, and that person is definitely not you. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel.